Jaya Kunja Vihari Madhava Jaya Kunja Vihari Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Kunja Vihari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Jaya Girivaradhari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Jaya Girivaradhari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Jaya Girivaradhari Jaya Girivaradhari Jaya Yashodanandana Jaya Vrajajana Randana Jaya Nandana Jaya Vrajajana Randana Jaya Yashodanandana Jaya Vrajajana Randana Jaya Jaya Vrajajana Randana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Kunja Vihari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Kunja Vihari Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Kunja Vihari Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare Hare ग्रंथराज श्रीमद् भागवतम की श्रील प्रभुपाद की निताय गौर प्रेमानंदे ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय नारायणं नमस्कृत्यं नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत् नष्टप्रायेषु भद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवती उत्तम श्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्टिकी श्रीमद् भागवतम की Reading from Śrimad Bhagāvatam, Canto 1, Chapter 9, Text 26.
26
Yeah.
聖典博家談第一篇第9章26節。
Purusha Swabhava Vihitan Yatha Varnam Yathashramam Vairagya Ragopadit Bhyam Amnato Bhaya Lakshanan Purusha Swabhava Vihitan Yatha Varnam Yathashramam Vairagya Ragopadibhyam Amnato Bhaya Lakshanan Purusha Swabhava Vihitan Yatha Varnam Yathashramam Vairagya Ragopadibhyam Amnato Bhaya Lakshanan Purushaha, the human being.
Ni讀中文字對字。第一個係咩？
Swabhava, by his own acquired qualities.
中文係俾我學太慢，一係俾佢讀。喺咩度啊？第二句啊 ，by his own acquired quality。中文。
Vihitan, prescribed. 聽唔到。Yatha, according to. Varnam, classification of castes.
Classification of castes 啊，唔讀中文，聽唔到太慢。
Yatha, according to.
根據。
Ashramam, orders of life. Vairagya, detachment. Raga, attachment. Upadibhyam, out of such designations. Amnata, systematically. Ubhaya, both. Lakshanan, symptoms. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace Srila Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki. At Maharaj Yudhishthir's inquiry, Bhishmadev first defined all the classifications of castes and orders of life in terms of the individual qualifications. Then he systematically, in twofold divisions, described counteractions by detachment and interaction by attachment.
譯文為了回答月啲蛇王的問題 ，Bhishmadev 首先闡明了根據個人資格所劃分的各個社會階層和靈性階層，接着有系統地分析，描述了超脱與執着這兩者的影響和作用。
Purport: the conception of 4 castes and 4 orders of life as planned by the Lord Himself, Bhagavad Gita 4.13, is to accelerate transcendental qualities of the individual person so that he may gradually realize his spiritual identity and thus act accordingly to get free from material bondage or conditional life. In almost all the Puranas, the subject matter is described in the same spirit. And also in the Mahabharata, it is more elaborately described by Bhishmadev in the Shanti Parva, beginning from the 16th chapter.
要指至尊主本人制定嘅人類社會的4個階層和人生的4個階段。國家梵歌4.13是為了使每一個人都可以增加超然的品質，以便能逐漸覺悟到自己的靈性身份。 從而擺脱物質束縛，受制約的生活而行事。有關這個主題內容，幾乎所有嘅往世書 Purana 都以同樣嘅精神給予咗闡述在 Mahabharata 的和平篇 Santi Parva。從第16章開始，必須地給予了更精深的描述。
The Varnashram Dharma is prescribed for the civilized human being just to train him to successfully terminate human life. Self-realization is distinguished from the life of the lower animals engaged in eating, sleeping, fearing, and mating. Bhishmadev advised for all human beings 9 qualifications. 1. Not to become angry. 2. Not to lie. 3. To equally distribute wealth. 4. To forgive. 5. To beget children only by one's legitimate wife. 6. To be pure in mind and hygiene in body. Not to be inimical towards anyone. That's 7th. 8. To be simple. And 9th. To support servants or subordinates. One cannot be called a civilized person without acquiring the above mentioned preliminary qualities. Besides these, the brahmanas, the intelligent men, the administrative men, the mercantile community, and the laborer class must acquire special qualities in terms of occupational duties mentioned in all the Vedic scriptures. For the intelligent men, controlling the senses is the most essential qualification. It is the basis of morality. Sex indulgence, even with a legitimate wife, must also be controlled, and thereby family control will automatically follow. An intelligent man abuses his great qualifications if he does not follow the Vedic way of life. This means he must seriously make a study of the Vedic literatures, especially of the Śrimad Bhagāvatam and the Bhagavad Gita. For learning Vedic knowledge, one must approach a person who is 100% engaged in devotional service. He must not do things which are forbidden in the Shastras. A person cannot be a teacher if he drinks or smokes. In the modern system of education, the teacher's academic qualification is taken into consideration without evaluation of his moral life. Therefore, the result of education is misuse of high intelligence in so many ways.
至尊主為文明人制定嘅社會4階層和靈性4階層的制度 Varnashram Dharma 是為了訓練人，使其能夠成功地結束其人生追求覺悟自我的生活。不同於指望於吃睡憂慮和交配的低等動物生活，必須對中谷所有的人應該具備9種資格，那就是1. 不憤怒， 2. 不說謊， 3. 平等分配財富， 4. 寬恕， 5. 只與自己的合法妻子生孩子， 6. 保持心靈純潔，身體乾淨， 7. 不對他人懷有敵意， 8. 生活簡樸，思想單純，以及 9. 贍養僕人或部下。不具備上述這9種基本品質的人，根本就稱不上是文明人。除此之外，所有偉大經典中談到為了履行各自的規定職責，知識分子 Brahmana、管理人員、商人和勞工階層人士必須具備特定的資格。對知識分子來說，控制感官是最基本的資格，他以倫理道德為基礎。即使是與自己合法妻子，都不該放縱性生活，而必須加以控制，這樣家庭計劃生育自然得到了執行。知識分子如果不按照偉達生活方式生活，就會使他優秀品嘅資格受到損害。這意味着他必須認真學習偉達文獻，特別係聖典博加亞談和博加梵歌。要學習這些偉大知識，人必須找一位全心全意做奉愛服務的人。這個人絕對不做經典薩查中禁止的事情。一個抽煙喝酒的人絕不能當老師。在現代教育體系中，學校在評價老師的資格時，不再考慮他的道德生活。正因為如此，現代教育的結果是以那麼多的方式誤用高等智力。 俾本書佢，佢冇得睇。唔係啊，俾本書佢，你有手機啊。Okay, next paragraph.
The Kshatriya, the member of the administrative class, is especially advised to give charity and not to accept charity in any circumstances. Modern administrators raise subscriptions for some political functions but never give charity to the citizens in any state function. It is just the reverse in the injunctions of the Shastras. The administrative class must be well versed in the Shastras but must not take to the profession of teachers. The administrators should never pretend to become non-violent and thereby go to hell. When Arjuna wanted to become a non-violent coward on the battlefield of Kurukshetra, he was severely chastised by Lord Krishna. The Lord degraded Arjuna at that time to the status of an uncivilized man for his avowed acceptance of the cult of non-violence. The administrative class must be personally trained in military education. Cowards should not be elevated to the presidential throne by dint of numerical votes only. The monarchs were all chivalrous personalities, and therefore monarchy should be maintained provided the monarch is regularly trained in the occupational duties of a king. In fighting, the king or the president should never return home without being hurt by the enemy. The so-called king of today never visits the warfield. He is very much expert in artificially encouraging the fighting strength in the hope of false national prestige. As soon as the administrative class is turned into a gang of mercantile and labor men, the whole machinery of government becomes polluted.
經典特別中國管理國家嘅人員 Kshatriya 要給予布施，在任何情況下都不要接受布施。原來社會中的行政官員為了政治活動而籌募捐款，但從不以任何方式給國民以布施，完全違背經典嘅教導。管理階層人士必須精通經典，但絕不該去當職業教師。國家嘅管理者應該用佢哋嘅力量去殺盜賊、流民、進行黑市交易的人等所有社會不良分子，而不該自命是非暴力者，為此下地獄。當阿尊來在庫魯塞查富如之嘅戰場上，想要當一個非暴力的懦夫時，主 Krishna 嚴厲咁批評了佢。至尊主因為阿尊宣布想要以非暴力嘅方式解決問題，而把他降到不文明的人的層面。國家嘅統治者必須親自接受軍事訓練嘅培訓，不應該僅任憑選票嘅票數讓一位懦夫坐上總統嘅寶座。過去嘅君王都具有合意嘅品格、騎士嘅風範，所以應該通過定期訓練國家嘅統治者如何履行君王嘅規定職責，來維持君主體系。在有戰鬥的時候，君王或總統絕不該在沒有被敵人打傷的情況下返家。現代所謂的國王從不親臨戰場，但卻非常精通增加不必要的軍事力量，以贏得虛假的榮耀。當國家被一幫商人和勞工所掌控時，政府機構就全部被污染了。
Done?
Yeah. Now the Vaishya.
The Vaishyas, the members of the mercantile communities, are especially advised to protect the cows. Cow protection means increasing the milk productions, namely curd and butter. Agriculture and distribution of the foodstuff are the primary duties of the mercantile community, backed by education and Vedic knowledge and trained to give in charity. As the Kshatriyas were given charge of the protection of the citizens, Vaishyas were given the charge of protection of animals. Animals are never meant to be killed. Killing of animals is a symptom of barbarian society. For a human being, agricultural produce, fruits and milk are sufficient and compatible foodstuffs. The human society should give more attention to animal protection. The productive energy of the laborer is misused when he is occupied by industrial enterprises. Industry of various types cannot produce the essential needs of man, namely rice, wheat, grains, milk, fruits, and vegetables. The production of the machines and the machine tools increases the artificial living fashion of a class of vested interests and keeps thousands of men in starvation and unrest. This should not be the standard of civilization.
經典特別忠告商人們 wise 要保護乳牛，對乳牛嘅保護意味着增加酸奶和黃油等奶製品的產量，發展農業和分配糧食，是受偉大知識教育嘅商人們的首要職責。他們受訓練要給予布施，正如國家管理人員被委託以保護國民的責任，商人們被委以保護動物的責任。永遠都不該殺害動物。殺害動物是野蠻社會的徵象。農作物、水果和牛奶是適合人類嘅食物，而且數量係充足。人類社會應該更注重對動物的保護。勞工在工業企業中工作是對他的生產力嘅誤用。各種各樣的工廠卻不能生產大米、小麥、穀物、牛奶、水果和蔬菜等人類賴以為生的必需品。用機器生產出的產品只會使得有既得利益的少數人以越來越不自然嘅生活方式嚟生活，同時卻使千百萬人忍飢挨餓，生活不安定，這不該是文明的標準。
The Shudra class is less intelligent and should have no independence. They are meant for rendering sincere service to the higher three sections of the society. The Shudra class can attain all comforts of life simply by rendering service to the higher classes. It is especially enjoined that a Shudra should never bank money. As soon as the Shudras accumulate wealth, it will be misused for sinful activities in wine, women, and gambling. Wine, women, and gambling indicate that the population is degraded to less than Shudra quality. The higher caste should always look after the maintenance of the Shudras, and they should provide them with old and used garments. A Shudra should not leave his master when the master is old and invalid, as the master should keep the servants satisfied in all respects. The Shudras must first of all be satisfied by sumptuous food and clothing before any sacrifice is performed. In this age, so many functions are held by spending millions, but the poor laborer is not sumptuously fed or given charity, clothing, etc. The laborers are thus dissatisfied, and so they make agitation.
勞工階層的人Shudra智力欠佳，所以不該獨立自主。他們應該真誠地為人類社會其他三個高等階層的人士服務。勞工階層的人光是靠為高等階層的人服務，就可以獲得日常生活的一切必需品。經典特別指示勞工階層的人從不該有銀行存款，他們一旦積累了錢財，就會誤用這些錢財去從事喝酒、亂性和賭博等罪惡的活動。這些罪惡活動使整個人口的素質下降到比勞工階層的人的素質還要低嘅程度。而高等階層嘅人士應該始終照顧勞工階層嘅人嘅生活，應該給他們提供用過的舊衣服。勞工階層的人在他的主人老弱病殘時，不該離開他的主人，而主人應該讓僕人在各方面都感到滿足。在讓僕人作出任何貢獻之前，必須先為他提供豐盛嘅食物及足夠的衣服，讓他感到滿足。在這個年代，人們花費幾百萬嘅錢舉行各種各樣的盛大宴會，但窮苦的勞工們卻沒有足夠的食物，得不到施捨和衣服等。勞工們為此而不滿，使社會動盪不安。
The Varnas are, so to speak, classifications of different occupations and ashram dharma in gradual progress on the path of self-realization. Both are interrelated, as one is dependent on the other. The main purpose of ashram dharma is to awaken knowledge and detachment. The brahmachari ashram is the training ground for the prospective candidates. In this ashram, it is instructed that this material world is not actually the home of the living entity. The conditioned souls under material bondage are prisoners of matter, and therefore self-realization is the ultimate aim of life. The whole system of ashram dharma is a means to detachment. One who fails to stimulate the spirit of detachment is allowed to enter into family life with the same spirit of detachment. Therefore, one who attains detachment may at once adopt the fourth order, namely renounced, and thus live on charity only, not to accumulate wealth, but just to keep body and soul together for ultimate realization. Household life is for one who is attached, and the Vanaprastha and Sannyas orders of life are for those who are detached from material life. The Brahmacharya ashram is especially meant for training both the attached and the detached.
可以說，社會四階層和靈性四階層嘅制度，是覺悟自我路途上的循序漸進嘅程序，兩者相互依賴。靈性四階層制度 ashram dharma 嘅主要目的是喚醒人的知識，使人變得不執着。獨身禁欲的學生生活階段 Brahmacharya ashram 是靈性生活的訓練階段。在這個階段中，人受到教育，知道這個物質世界不是生物真正的家園，被物質捆綁住的受制約的靈魂，是物質世界裏的囚犯。所以覺悟自我是人生的最高目標。整個靈性四階層制度嘅目的是為了讓人變得超脫。不能培養這種超脫精神的人，被允許去過培養同樣超脫精神的家庭生活。培養了超脫精神的人可以立即進入第四個階層，就係棄絕階層，只靠布施過活，不累積錢財，只為最終覺悟自我而維持生命。居士生活為仍然依戀物質生活的人而設，逐漸退出家庭生活的階段 Vanaprastha 和托缽真的生活 Sannyasa 是為那些不再依戀物質生活的人而設的。獨身禁欲的學生生活階段專為訓練超脫與不超脫的人而設。
Srila Prabhupada ki Jnanativarandasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Sthapanam Mena Bhutale Samrupa Kadamayam Darati Sapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shruta Parakamanam Shri Guru Vaishnavamsha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sagan Raghunathamitam Tam Sajivam Sadhutam Savadutam Parishansitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Savanita Shri Vishakhanatamascha Namam Vishnupadaya Krishna Prishthaya Bhutale Srimati Bhaktivedanta Swami Namine Namaste Saraswate Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pachyapta Deshadarine Panchakalpatarubhyascha Kripasamabhyacha Paditanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Anantakoti Vaishnavinda Ki Jai. So very very big purport.
好長好深遠嘅要旨
And
detailed explanation.
yeah, very detailed and many important points.
非常詳盡，非好多重點嘅要旨。
Yeah. So before we get into the Varnas,
咁我未去到呢個制度之前咧，
are we civilized human beings?
咁我哋係咪文明社會嘅人物咧？Not really.
Yeah, there's 9 qualities. I'm sure there's at least a few I can tell you right now that I don't follow. You know.
就好似呢度要旨講9個資格，密夫話我都唔相信自己係遵守晒9項。
Right? Not to become angry.
唔好憤怒咧，譬如。
Not to tell lies.
唔好説謊啊。
You know that Shastra says if you speak the absolute truth, fully honest for 12 years, whatever you say will become true.
咁所以經典咧教導我哋要按照絕對真理嘅講法嚟講，係要絕對真實。
So it's called Vak Prajna. It means strength of speech. If you're honest, fully honest for 12 years, if you say the chair will float, the chair will float because you can never lie. You have purified yourself that because it's austerity to be always honest.
因為忠誠嘅力量咧就係好似你同個凳講嘢，佢係會升起嘅，即係嗰個忠誠嘅力量係無可估計。
Yeah, that means no half lies either, right?
即係話你唔需要好辛苦去做。
Like Yudhishthira Maharaj did, even that was considered a lie, right? He said Ashwatthama the elephant, but he said the elephant very softly, and Ashwatthama is dead. Now the whole story has a whole different context, but even that is considered a lie because it's not the full truth.
好似有啲説話咧係著名嘅君王，佢從來都唔講大話嘅。咁佢嗰個大將係咩？個 Ashwatthama 咧 ，Ashwatthama have to listen.
No, he was saying basically the only way to kill Dronacharya was to say for Dronacharya to put his weapons down. And the only time Dronacharya would put his weapons down is if Ashwatthama, his son, was
你
dead.
聽唔聽明呢個？點講
Yeah.
？Ashwatthama 點？你係聽得明？我聽唔明。
即係嗰隻大象係 Ashwatthama 啊嘛，咁佢個仔阿 Dronacharya 佢個仔都係 Ashwatthama 啊嘛。咁如果 Dronacharya 知道佢個仔死咗就
咁啊，蕭耀時光係月啲時候個仔啊，亦都係叫 Ashwatthama。
佢講大話
啊，
講大話。
咁大象嘅名字 Ashwatthama 啦，佢個兒子亦都 Ashwatthama。咁點？
講大話 lying， 寫 lying。
邊個講大話？
講啊。
咁啊點咧？
講大話，即係佢係唔講大話啫嘛，但係佢都即係半咁樣默。
講唔到個重點。咁所以因為透過呢個 Ashwatthama 嗰個名字咧，有啲就係被認為講咗大話，你哋破咗佢嘅。
Yeah, anyways, coming back to the point, honesty, complete truth, right,
所
is
以
one
個重
quality.
點就係一定要講真實説話。
To equally distribute wealth. Now, this point, how it applies to us is from Ishopanishad, Ishavasya Idam Sarvam Yatkincha Jagatyam Jagat. So, you have a certain quota, which is enough for you,
Yeah.
right? It just because you can, you shouldn't make millions of dollars. If you can live peacefully with 500,000, you should make 500,000 and live your life peacefully. But because we want as much as we can have, the desire, it atyahar, prayas, those things in nectar of instruction, Rupa Goswami says atyahar prayasascha prajalpunya magraha janasangasya lolyam cha. Right? So you don't want to keep on doing atyahar, just keep on making money.
就好似Iskcon 嘅時候咧，至尊會師嘅教導第一個師節係，我每個人都有個配額嘅，你係唔需要追求超過你配額嘅東西。假如你用嘅貪圖咧想多過自己配額做嘅東西咧，你就係用説謊呢個方式咧，你就係違反經典嘅教導。諸如此類，太長我唔譯嘅。
Yeah. To forgive being, so nectar shikshashtakam. What? Trinadapi sunichena taruapi saishuna amanina manadena. To forgive is very difficult. We can, we might say, oh no, it's okay, but we remember he has done something, this Prabhuji or this Mataji is, so we hold that, feeling in our heart that he's not nice, he has done this bad to me. But to forgive that, forget that, that's very difficult.
咁好似第四項嘅寬恕咧，喺主齊攤嚟嘅説失同咁八分規第三個，全拉批選啲線啦，頭話批審線啦，阿媽呢啦，問得呢啊，其他呢一實得係，即係你要 humble 啊，謙卑啊，尊敬別人啊，而家以一個寬懷嘅心咧去對待別人，呢個就稱為寬恕。
Yeah, and then next to beget children only by one's legitimate wife. Now in devotees, it's more or less everybody follows, but in the world itself, so much adulteration is going on. It's very, very sad. And that's why you have so many families that are split, so many fathers, then a stepfather, half, mother, all of that, half brothers. It's very, very sad actually for any child's growth.
Unwanted population.
Yeah, and unwanted. Varna Shankar, Prabhupada says, and that's how you get, and then those unwanted population, it's not that those people are bad, but because they have no training, they will not be able to make good decisions.
咁下一個要守咧就係只與自己嘅合法妻子生孩子咧。你睇現代以前啲人係遵從，而家現代嘅人完全係違反所以有咁多所謂step mother 即係嗰啲。所以有咁多不想要嘅人口咧，嗰啲兒童啊，冚唪唥都係有繼父啊、繼母啊，咁呢個係唔完全根據經典就造成社會好多混亂，同埋人嘅素質係減低，呢個係聖巴嘅教導。
Yeah, Then to be pure in mind and hygiene, like clean in the body. So internal cleanliness, which is purity of mind, external cleanliness, which is cleanliness of body. To always maintain. The bodily cleanliness is very easy. Take bath very nicely 2 times a day. But inside here, everything is going on, So many things. We have anarthas always coming back. That we have to clean. And the only way to do that is Hare Krishna. The holy name is the only way.
第六個保持心靈潔淨咧，就係、保持身體潔淨又好容易啊！你沖涼沐浴得啦，但係要保持心靈純潔咧，就要通過個心意。但係我哋心意係完全不受控制，所以做出好多唔純潔嘅行為。
Then
透過念誦咧就可以令到心靈純潔啦。Purify by chanting.
Chanting, yes.
Thank you.
Then the next 3, not to be inimical towards anyone, to be simple, and to support servants or subordinates. Right? We don't have servants and subordinates as such now, because that's not the kind of world we live in. But it just means to be nice to people. You see somebody in help, you help him. Right? Live a simple life. You don't have to be very opulent, very fashionable. That's not necessary, because the basis of all this civilized human being is, I'm not this body. This is just my tool. I don't have to waste my time on this. I have to waste my time on what's in here.
咁跟住嗰3樣咧，生活簡樸啊，思想單純啊，贍養僕人部下嗰啲呢啲基本嘅品質啊，就係基於咧我哋個思想要純潔。跟住有啲咩啊？唔係好記得佢講乜啦。有啲咩重點去講？
我哋係呢個波，我哋唔係呢個波。
因為我哋唔係呢個身體啦，咁你唔需要太專注重於嗰個身體概念，係注重你嘅心靈嘅純潔思想嘅淨化。
So more than everything, we have to actually learn to live like this. How can we even call ourselves devotees if we're not human beings, right? Prabhupada says, first become conscious, then Krishna conscious.
咁所以巴話點樣成為 Krishna 知覺？首先你有知覺啦，然後變成 Krishna 知覺啦，純粹啦，咁啊如此。
Yeah, because that's why sometimes we see, and that's very sad for the movement, is the devotees, they are doing devotional service, but as human beings, they are very harsh sometimes. They don't actually show any love or affection to anybody who's not a devotee or bad person. But no, he's still a human being. You have to be kind, because kindness is, Bhaktivinoda Thakur says, Jiva Daya Krishna Nam. Kindness to human beings and give them the holy name. That is our duty as devotees.
同時咧有一點係注重咧，雖然我哋奉獻者係做緊奉獻服務，但係有時我哋對外邊嘅人啲奉者嗰種苛刻嘅尖鋭咧，就唔係一個根本就唔係文明社會嘅人。補充，重點補充啲重點，我記唔到。你哋翻譯我嚟。所以呢個文明社會咧，首先你係考慮埋其他嘅人，所以奉獻者甚至奉獻者都係咁樣點為之文明咧？呢一點好重要，我哋亦都體驗到好多，自己保持警惕。多謝 ，Thank you for your reminding. It's very important. Usually among devotees.
Yeah.
會對非奉獻者，尤其是睇唔起啊，或者唔係好尊重啊。或者有錢啲又好啲啊 ，etc.
Yes.
Thank you.
So
記啲重點啦。
佢有個例子話，嗰個唔知咩講話，即係話我哋要對人要即係愛心。
太慢。Okay.
Yeah. So these qualities are a lot easier to attain in Satya Yuga, Treta Yuga, Dwapara Yuga. Kali Yuga is very hard because the nature of Kali Yuga is quarrel, is to argue, is to fight. But devotees, it's our responsibility, Prabhupada said, is to purify this world. And yes.
You mean the 3 yuga is what?
It's easier to be to be a human being.
Yuga is different.
Yeah, because Satya Yuga has 4 legs of Dharma.
Degraded.
Yeah. It's truthfulness, compassion, austerity, and cleanliness. Right now, the only thing left is truthfulness, even that very little bit, right? So Kali Yuga is very difficult to be like this, and the world needs civilized men. Everything we see is very nice buildings. Civilization is amazing, but inside here, it's all rotten.
Only externally.
Yeah.
OK。咁喺其他3個年代 ，Satya Yuga、Dwapara Yuga、Treta Yuga 嗰啲係好容易遵守呢啲比較純潔嘅文明社會，但係卡利年代嘅沉淪咧，你睇到外邊嘅人好似乎好文明嘅，但係其實佢哋嘅內心係一啲都唔純潔，所以嗰個純潔純粹程度係保持唔到。
Yeah, and then actually, Prabhupada also mentions, and it's mentioned in Bhagāvatam 1-10, there's a verse that explains actually that life's desire should never be for sense gratification. One should live simply for self-preservation, for the true goal of life is the inquiry into the absolute truth. Basically, simple living, high thinking, and the goal of our life should be to attain Krishna Prem. But in our day-to-day activities, we forget that. We don't remember actually every day why are we doing even our devotional service. It just becomes our life. We leave the material world, we come and start living in spiritual life, but even there it becomes a monotonous. We don't think about why we're chanting 16 rounds, why we're doing kirtan, why we're in the temple every day. It just becomes, oh, it's a nice thing to do, it gives me satisfaction, but it's not about me, it's about Krishna.
所以《博伽雅堂》第1篇第2章第10節，邊巴巴亦都提到呢一點嘅，講而家人生嗰個文明，佢人生咧其實係唔應該係導向感官享樂嘅，人生嘅目的係應該係尋找絕對真理，所以人應該係過健康嘅生活，只係維持生命目的，而唔係為咗去感官享樂呢個重要。咁所以喺政治社會政治方面咧，其他慈善咧，呢啲宗教領域，佢係為咗追求解脫，但係都有感官享樂嘅色彩。咁所以人們嘅目標咧，唔係為咗淨化，而只係為咗最終都係感官享樂。
Yeah, so you could try to develop these qualities one by one, or be forgiving, be kind, be this, but that will take you the whole life, and still you will not achieve it.
所以我哋只要逐樣咁去培養頭先嗰9項嘅品質咧，我哋生命先可以得到圓滿。
And Prabhupada actually mentions later on, right? The seed of this kind of civilized human being happens in Brahmacharya ashram.
有巴巴呢度提到咧，就呢個4靈性社會階層嘅 Brahmacharya 嘅精守生。
Because that's where you learn that you're not this body. And when you stop thinking about me, all the time it's me, you start thinking Krishna and all the living entities of Krishna who are him, parts and parcels of him. It switches. You start looking at the world not from me and them, from third person. Them and my body is me. How do I relate to everybody? And then you can automatically be kind, you can automatically be, peaceful, forgiving, because you're not attached to this body. So you think before you speak. You think before you do things. Otherwise, we're living life, somebody hits me and I'll immediately hit him back. Because I don't think, why? What happened? Why did he hit me? I just go, he hit me, I'll hit him back. So that reaction, quick reaction, you have to be careful. Because that's what differentiates. And that's what you learn in Brahmacharya ashram. Or that's what you learn for women, that's what you learn from your mother when you're at home. Because women don't go to Brahmacharya ashram as such. But that's what you learn from your mother or from your spiritual master.
咁係關於呢個靈性社會階層嗰個 Brahmacharya。
You learn how to that you're not this body.
呢個首要嘅學習咧，就係我哋唔係呢個身體啦。One by one, I can't remember.
Right. So you in Brahmacharya ashram you learn you're not this body, and that
Brahmacharya 就學習我哋唔係身體。
Yeah, and that understanding that I am not the body and the spirit soul.
我哋係靈性。
You start thinking about others because everybody is a spirit soul.
從此你會想到其他人都係一樣，都係靈魂唔係身體。
And then you can naturally be a civilized human being because then it becomes
自然你就會成為一個文化嘅人士。
Yeah, you can automatically
文明
follow those qualities. You can be a nice person because you're not attached to what you do.
因為你有呢個資格咧，就係、做一個文明嘅人，就係、首先呢個最初嘅階段，知道我唔係呢個身體。
Yeah. And so coming back to the verse, right, it says, then he systematically in twofold divisions described counteraction by detachment and interaction by attachment. So that's a very important point. That's what actually will help us understand the first part.
咁所以呢個教導四靈四社嘅階層就係好系統性咁樣教導從呢個開始點樣有程序咁去跟從。
So in Sanskrit it's called
一步一步。
Yeah, in Sanskrit it's called Nivritti Marga, which is detachment, and Pravritti Marga.
What is the detachment?
Nivritti Marga. Marga means path. Nivritti means to get out of this world. Detachment.
呢個教導就係不依附。
Yeah, and this is called Pravritti Marga, which is engage yourself in this world. You know, go deeper, become a household, join household life. You know, do karma. Karma yoga is more in the Pravritti Marga. And Jnana Yoga or Vairagya is Nivritti Marga. Vairagya is detachment.
咁即係從呢個 Karma Yoga 開始咧 ，Jnana Yoga 一段慢慢咁去棄絕呢個物質生活。
See now, when you hear this, you feel like, oh, I should follow Nivritti Marga, right? Pravritti Marga is bad, but that's not true. When you hear about these two margas, right, you think detachment is good, I should follow detachment, and attachment is bad because, you know.
初初聽呢個 marga 兩個 marga， 即係一個係棄絕，一個不，一個係依附咧，你會覺得我係中意棄絕。
Right, but Prabhupada makes it very clear, false detachment is so much worse than attachment.
但係呢度講到你虛假嘅不依附咧，係比依附係更加差嘅。
Yeah.
你要承認自己係依附。
Because if you think, oh, I will become brahmachari or I'll become sannyasi or I will give up life, you know, and I'll only practice devotional service. Unless you're very elevated, it's very hard to do it. And sometime in 10, 15 years, 10 years, 5 years, sometimes only 6 months. I just recently met with a devotee, 4 months, right? Brahmachari ashram and married, right? So you have to know in your heart, am I detached? Or do I want to show people I'm detached? These are two different things.
個重點咧就係你唔好係好似表現俾人哋睇你係好不依附啊！我由精手生一直我就可以做托缽僧之類，但係其實你唔係嘅時候咧，你應該按照嗰個階層係精手生啊、居士啊咁一步一步先去到棄絕階層，呢個先係真正嘅棄絕。千祈唔好係做表面嘅功夫，嗰樣更加糟糕。
Because otherwise, if you have attachment, then you should take up married life.
Yeah.
You should follow the married life. You should follow it properly, right? Kshatriya or Grihastha dharmas, it's given in the Shastra. And you try to apply it according to the modern day, see everything, how it fits, read Prabhupada's books, and you can know what to do.
假如你有一個慾望嘅，你應該係結婚嘅，跟隨呢個四靈四社嘅階層，而唔係試圖去扮演我係好高層次，我係好棄絕，呢個係虛假嘅棄絕。
Yeah, because see, Grihastha life is very difficult. You have children, you have your wife, you have the relationship, each other, but that difficulty keeps you away from illicit activities.
其實居士生活都係好困難嘅，因為你好多關係，其他嘅關係你要注重。
But if you're a brahmachari and you're not detached, then you have so much time, you can do whatever you want, right?
精手生咧就好簡單啦，你好多自由嘅時間啦。
And then you can really fall down because you're not controlled, you're not, in service.
因為照顧太多嘅。
And unfortunately, it's true. And I've seen many actually brahmacharis after some time take up white. They were young and they thought they could stay brahmachari for their whole life, but only after 5 6. So it's this decision of being brahmachari or brahmacharini should be taken very, very thoroughly. You should really think about it before you just go into it.
咁好多人好向往精手生生活啊，嘗試去扮演呢個可能可以做精手生嘅 brahmachari，但係你要好忠誠咁對自己。如果你係做唔到咧，你不如結婚。
Don't get me wrong, brahmachari ashram is very, very important.
唔好認為精手生係嗰個階層係最重要，唔係咁嘅。
But there is no need for naishtika brahmachari. Just be a brahmachari for 5 years in white clothes and then you become married. Taking saffron,
你最初可以
it's
做
a vow.
精手生，慢慢咧你可以進入居士階層啊，換咗白袍啊，
Yeah.
循序漸進啫，唔好一下子。
So yeah,
勉強
and
扮演。
that's one thing we should make clear is pravritti marga isn't bad as long as you are doing devotional service.
其實所有階層都係好嘅，只要你從事於奉獻服務，按照自己嘅身份。
Because that's what karma yoga is.
呢個就叫
Connecting
karma yoga，
your work or your day-to-day life into service of Krishna.
將你嘅活動咧係奉獻俾 Krishna， 亦都係可以嘅。
Right? And jnana yoga, which is detachment or vairagya, that
Karma
is very,
yoga
very
咧就係氣
difficult.
絕啦，可以透過知識去氣絕。
Yeah. If you can sit and read Bhagavatam for 4 hours, 3 hours every day, listen to classes 3-4 hours every day, chant 64 rounds, maybe then you should become,
假如你
detached.
好似可以坐4個鐘頭讀博家雅談，坐定定念16個圈，咁你又可以。
Yeah. So if you're a passionate person, you like,
可
doing
以進入
activities,
居士階層。
a lot of things, you should. And it's not a bad thing. It's not a bad thing to get married.
結婚唔係一件壞事嚟嘅，你可以進入居士階層。如果你做唔到呢個精手生，
As long as you're being Krishna conscious,
只要你係維持 Krishna 意識之覺，
that is the most important
呢
part.
個先係最重要嘅一點。
Everything else is secondary.
其他啲都係次要嘅啫。
You can be sannyasi, you can
你
be
可以係
vanaprastha,
托缽僧啊，
grihastha, or brahmachari. If you're not
或者
Krishna
仲係
conscious,
精手生，
everything else is waste of time, waste of life.
每樣都係好事嚟嘅，但係都唔係。假如唔係就係浪費時間。
Yeah. So then if you're getting
適合你
married,
嘅身份去。
there is varnas, right? Prabhupada talks so much in the purport about varnas.
巴巴喺個要旨講好多彎囊。
And I'll be short with it. There's 4 varnas and the
咁有4
varna
個
which
彎
is
囊。巴巴
in this world, right? Prabhupada is talking about varnas, and we also in Iskcon, should we follow varnashram or not? Right? There's debates, arguments. If we are to follow varnashrama, we need to know that the upper 3 castes, Brahmana, Kshatriya, and Vaishya,
巴文啊、Kshatriya、Vaishya 呢啲係呢3個彎囊。
they need to follow their duties
你哋根
exactly.
據佢哋嘅職責，要盡你嘅職責去做，
Only then can this system sustain.
因為你要維係嘅。
Otherwise, it falls apart. If Brahmanas start abusing their position, which is the topmost in the Varnashram Dharma, if Kshatriyas start abusing their power, because they are supposed to be kings, they start just killing because they want to, they start going and pillaging, becoming robbers. If Vaishyas just hoard on to, that's what's happening in the world right now. Varnashrama is always there in the world.
Varnashram 其實喺世界都係盛行緊嘅，但每人要根據自己嘅位置做 Brahmana、Kshatriya 啊，負責管理啊嗰啲，而唔係亂咗佢嘅職責，唔按照自己身份去做事。
Yeah, so it's always there. Like all the teachers nowadays, they are supposed to be Brahmanas, but they don't follow Brahmanical qualities. They
好似而
smoke,
家嘅
they
老師
drink.
咧，佢應該係屬於 Brahmana 階層，但係佢哋唔根據呢個制度啊，唔遵守老師嘅職責
Right?
嘅品
The
質。
education industry, the schools, they have become a business.
教育
You're not
係變得
supposed
好
to teach for money,
可憐，只
right?
係為咗賺錢。
So when Vaishyas have taken over Brahmanical things, Brahmanas are starting to do Vaishya things. They're selling their services.
就一片混亂啦，婆羅門去做呢啲其他剎帝利嘅事情啦，剎帝利又做 Brahmana，
People in
統治全
power,
部。
people with political power, they are abusing their money. Like Prabhupada says, Shudra shouldn't have money. Why? Because they will gamble, they will have illicit sex. But that's what our political powers they're doing. As soon as they have money, they go casinos.
好似
They
Sudha
go-
咁咧，係唔應該有錢嘅。巴巴指出佢哋 Shudra 階層勞工階有錢咧，佢哋就會墮下墮去飲酒啦、賭博啊之類此類。
And anybody who's doing a job is basically a Shudra, and they are the ones who are trying to save all the money they can.
但係目前咧，大部分人都係Shudra 嘅層面嘅，因為每人所有人都係累積金錢為咗。
So it's not about Varnashram Dharma is good to apply or not. It's already here, but we should follow the right things, right? Like in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna mentions what is the different dharmas of different varnas, right? It says,
我哋要按照經典咧，譬如講翻梵谷嘅教導，點去遵守呢4個 Varnashram，即使而家係存在，但係唔係真正遵守。
So for Brahmana, peacefulness, self-control, austerity.
婆羅門咧要平和啦、苦行啦。
Right? Tolerance, honesty, wisdom, knowledge.
容忍啦、知識啊，諸如此類博學。
And the most important, faith in the absolute truth.
最重要咧點係對絕對真理嘅信心、信念。
So if you have these, you are actually a Brahmana.
如果你真係有呢啲品質咧，你知係真正嘅婆羅門。
Not because you're born in a Brahmana family.
當然唔係因為你出生於婆羅門嘅家庭。
Right? Then the Kshatriya should have heroism, power, determination.
剎帝利沙住你要有用英勇啦、決定性諸如此類。
Courage in battle, and mainly generosity. He should be kind to everyone.
更加要慷慨，你對所有人都要仁慈，幫助其他嘅。
Because with strength comes responsibility.
Protect,
yes.
主要係保護剎帝利，保護其他嘅弱小市民。
And then Vaishyas.
Vaishya 係講到商人。
Farming and mainly cow protection.
農業主要嘅商人應該係農業。
And for Shudras, it's labor, service, right? All of this ultimately is just activities. And based on your qualities from within, if you can actually be honest, peaceful, self-controlled, you are a Brahmana. And so how do we apply this in our lives?
咁所以勞工階層咧就係指婦女啊、兒童啊嗰啲係要依賴其他人，呢啲我哋要去照顧嘅。
Yeah, we have to see where we fit. We have to see if am I peaceful? Am I self-controlled? Am I austere?
檢查自己係咪平和咧？你係咪可以控制自己感官啊之類咧？你先係進入邊一個階層。
Right? Because it feels nice to say I'm a Brahmana or I'm Kshatriya, I'm Vaishya. Oh no, I'm Shudra. Right? Everybody feels bad. But Shudras are the best devotees, most surrendered.
咁所以你有啲人自稱係 Brahmana、Kshatriya，但係佢做唔到呢個身份咧，反為樹陀咧係更加誠實。
Right? But Prabhupada wants us to be Brahmanas.
自己嘅身份位置去行事。
Because he wants devotees to lead the world.
聖巴巴係希望奉獻者咧領導呢個世界。
He wants us as devotees to show the world what's the right thing, what is the wrong thing, and how to live righteously.
想奉獻者咧係表達俾人睇，奉獻者應該係人們應該係點樣行事，邊樣先係正確，邊樣係錯誤。
Yeah, and that's why we have Brahman initiation in Iskcon.
所以我哋有婆羅門嘅啟迪，就係為咗俾人睇真正嘅品質。
The purpose of Brahman initiation is not only to do deity worship.
當然，第二度啟迪婆羅門唔係因為只係為咗崇拜神像而設。
It is to live a Brahmanical life.
而係去進行呢個 Brahmana 婆羅門嘅生活，做俾人睇真正嘅 Brahmana。
It's a very big responsibility.
呢個係好大嘅責任嚟㗎。
And it should be something we take very, very seriously.
我哋要好認真咁去做。
Because when you're new, it's very nice to quickly work hard for a few years, get the thread, do Gayatri and do puja. But then we forget why actually we become Brahmanas.
因為初去入嚟嘅時候，我哋好充滿熱情啊，呢樣中意做，嗰樣做。但係慢慢你忘記咗你嘅職責係咩？你係 Brahmana，抑或係 Brahmana 應該做咩職責？
And in this life, only when you do things which are hard, even in the material world or spiritual life, can you go higher? Can you advance?
咁所以一切做任何事情咧，都係要從心裏正面真實去做，不論係靈性啊、物質嘅事情。
If you do things that feel good, are nice, simple, easy, you will be stagnant or you'll fall. Even in the material world, what to speak of the spiritual?
梗係你唔係認真咧，就算喺物質生活，你唔係認真咁去全心全意做，係一樣係失敗。
Right? So, and then that's why we have to make the hard decisions. We have to control our mind every day, come every day to the temple.
點解你要每日嚟廟堂咧？係嘗試幫助自己去控制心意感官。
And that's how you then, through Pravritti Marga, right, path of attachment, start living the life of detachment.
咁所以你去幫助其他人咧，呢個係其中一部分嘅職責嚟嘅。
Because, and Prabhupada and our acharyas, they talk about yukta vairagya, not vairagya. We don't want any vairagya, we want yukta vairagya, which is engaged in devotional service, then detachment.
聖巴巴阿 Chai 都係中國，我哋應該係做 Yutta 為屈人，唔係淨係為屈人，係真正棄絕。
Yeah, because if it is good to use a typewriter or a mic for devotional service, oh no, I'm detached, Prabhu, I don't use mic. That's
好似我
stupid.
哋用啲咪啊、啲器材咧去講博加亞談，呢個係真正用於呢個其實啲係真正嘅棄絕，而唔係虛假咁樣去棄絕。我唔使咪，我就咁講課，諸如此類。
Yeah, and so Bhishma Dev is telling Yudhishthira Maharaj everything, right? All of this. He's telling him, we'll tell him more things. He is the best person to say it because he has always lived dharmic life.
Bhishma Dev 喺度咧係最適合講呢啲宗教原則嘅人士，因為佢係完全做到呢個層面。
When he was 18 or 20 years old, he made this. The reason he's called Bhishma, he took a vow, because my father wants to get married to Satyavati, right? And her father wants to make sure Satyavati's son becomes king. But I am the son of the king right now. So I will forever not be married, so that I will never be in line for the throne.
Bhishma Dev 嘅表現嘅例子就係因為由於佢父親想結婚咧，但係佢因為登基皇位嗰啲事情咧，佢本來 Bhishma Dev 係要登皇位，所以佢話我唔結婚啦，呢一生咁我唔需要登皇位，而係為咗呢個經手全身去做。
Right. So he sacrificed so much. See, we are not even kings. We don't know what opulence kings have, right? But we still cannot give up material attachments. He, at the level of a king, forever promised not to ever engage with women, not to ever become a king, not to enjoy the throne. And that's why it's called a Bhishma Pratigya. Bhishma means great, amazing. And because he did
Bhishma mean
amazing, great, very powerful, very strong.
所以 Bhishma Dev 個 Bhishma 係代表佢非常偉大，唔係一啲國王所謂為國王，但係依然依附好多財富啊、女人啊嗰啲。
So because he took that vow, it's called Bhishma Pratigya. Pratigya means vow. That's why he's called Bhishma.
所以佢遵守嘅誓言咧，作為 Bhishma 呢個名字咧，佢要好嚴格咁遵守呢啲所有誓言，唔係表面。
So who better to teach Dharma than him?
咁有邊個比佢更加適合講Dharma宗教咧？冇其他人。
And it's not just that. His other qualifications, see, this is still material. He is a Mahabhagavata and Mahajan.
佢已經係Mahajan嗰個層面啊，佢唔會再依附任何物質嘅事物。
So there's also nobody better who understands how to apply Dharma in Krishna service.
所以佢將佢全心全意係從事喺 Krishna 嘅服務之中嘅，呢個係真正嘅 Bhishma。
Right? Because devotees have nothing to do with Dharma if it's not connected to devotional service.
The world?
Dharma. Devotees, they don't care about Dharma if it's not devotional service.
其他嘅世俗嘅事情咧，同呢個無關咧，嗰啲唔係叫做 Dharma。
Right? Because it's Bhagavatam says, Dharmam tu sakshat bhagavat pranitam. Dharma is devotional service.
所以經典博加亞談講Dharma 嘅意思就係奉獻服務嘅。如果你唔係做服務，呢個唔係稱為 Dharma。
So there's a lot we spoke about. Ultimately, we have to contemplate. We have to look within, see where we are.
當然有好多嘢需要可以講啊！你最主要咧，將你個絕對真理擺你內心，真正咁去。
And start applying these things that Bhishma Dev is saying in our own lives.
咁你將 Bhishma Dev 嘅教導咧擺喺個內心咧，終生去遵守。
And to start, if you're not chanting, you cannot.
咁佢開始點樣做呢個奉獻服務遵守咧，就係 假如你唔唱頌，你係做唔到任何奉獻服務。
And in that chanting, when you chant, it shouldn't be just beads moving, it should be contemplation on the holy name.
同時念誦咧，唔係就係咁念口簧咁念，而係非常專注聽着呢個聖名。
Meditation on Krishna.
而唔係同時係冥想叫 Krishna， 專注於。
That will give us the intelligence. The Lord says,
如此
Dadami
就會
buddhi.
增加我哋嘅智慧咧，同埋信念啊。
The Lord says in Bhagavad Gita that I will give you the intelligence if you do devotional
國
service.
家梵個 Krishna 曾經講過，我會按照你程度俾你智慧。
So we do devotional service and we wait for the intelligence. And it comes, every day it comes.
所以每一日我哋要從事奉獻服務咧，如此智慧先會來到。
You have to just be open to it. You have to be open to the instructions. Every day the Lord is sitting in our heart, Chaitya Guru.
所以 Krishna 在我哋心中，作為 Chaitya Guru 係睇住我哋每一日，我哋遵守按照心意真誠咁去做咧，呢、個先係真正嘅奉獻服務。
And like this,
Dharma。
there is no need for one more life. You'll go back to God at this lifetime.
咁你其他任何事都唔需要，你就可以回歸神守神。
It's just not as easy as it sounds.
啊
It's not as easy as it sounds.
當然唔係咁輕易做到啦。But it's not.
聽起來很容易。
It still can be possible by the mercy of Krishna and Srila Prabhupada.
Mercy of Guru, mercy of Krishna. Again, we spoke about mercy last time, remember?
Yeah.
You have to do
Yeah.
something. It will come. It will come
好似
so
以
much.
前嘅堂我哋講過咧，你係要咁去做咧，個仁慈先會嚟嘅，唔係仁慈自動，係
Yeah.
無緣啦，但係你要去攞。
Any questions?
有咩問題？咩嘢做唔到？講 share。What you can do, what you cannot do, we can share.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, any questions and comments, please?
刚才他讲到了那个家庭啊、责任啊、工作啊、负担啊那些那么多，就是居士跟三亚西的那个区别嘛。那我们怎么来去平衡我们的工作跟生活，还有灵修呢？
唔好明你個問題。You're talking about the sannyasi and grihastha.
我們又要服務 Krishna，又要生活啊，又要工作，怎麼去平衡啊？
點平衡咩啫？你唔需要做sannyasi啦，你咪做翻居士咯。你又講到sannyasi咁，我唔知你問乜。The main question you should ask about how to balance the material life when you have to do devotion, you have to work, something like that. 咁你講到規絕做咩咪有咯？
點樣平衡咯？平衡
邊樣得㗎？物
質同
咁你而家咪做緊嘢又收緊咯？
我知道我而家收緊，當然我都要揾食嘅。
冇人叫你唔好揾食啊！
哦，
咁你從事念做咪？
都要揾食嘛，係嘛？
你現在she had to make money. How can she do devotional service? Something how to balance?
Yes. So actually,
點樣平衡物質靈性生活自己？
the only way to balance is it's not that you have to come to the temple for Mangalarti, Darshanarti. You should. But the main part is remembrance. Always remember, never forget.
真正嘅平衡嘅物質靈性生活咧，唔係淨係你嚟掹家 T 啊、念誦啊諸如此類。
Right? When you're working, doing anything, at least every 10
主要係你
minutes.
要記住 Krishna， 唔好忘記出嚟。好似你工作嘅時候，可以係為咗 Krishna 嚟工作。
Every 10 minutes, you can even just have a small alarm. You just remember Krishna.
任何事情
Right.
大小事，你記住 Krishna 就可以嘅，唔需要刻意咁樣。
Like that, it will increase. After some time, 10 minutes becomes natural. It will become every 5 minutes.
咁慢慢你覺得好自然咧，自動會想起 Krishna。
So it's the consistency and the remember smarnam, right? So that part, when smarnam happens, everything else will follow. It's not that you have to come certain amount of hours every day to the temple.
沙分能 K 站嘅自動係叫做 smart 運能。
Yeah.
透過聆聽唱誦就會慢慢記憶㗎啦。
So whenever you can, you come to the temple. Whenever you can, you do
咁當然你
bodily,
能夠嚟到廟堂好啦，嚟唔到廟堂同樣可以做呢啲程序㗎，係咪？
right? And whenever you can, you chant with your beads. But otherwise, you think, you remember. And you can, there's devotees who do. They have an alarm, a soft, or in their watch, it just bzz, and it says Krishna, right? So you can just remember Krishna every, 10 minutes. It's not that much. Every 10 minutes you can, even when you're
因為你
working.
識聽啊，你講。
right?
And you can see the sunshine or anything. You can see the tree.
Yeah, 你透過
That's
大
the 10th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, no? Vibhuti Yoga. You
國
see
家爬多第
water,
10
you
章，你
taste
透過
water,
睇
you
萬
remember
字萬
Krishna.
物咧，你可以憶記 Krishna。
Oh, Krishna.
任何時刻都
Yeah.
有想起 Krishna 嘅，唔係好難嘅啫。
See, Krishna is everything,
Yeah.
right? Krishna is everything.
其實一切事情都係 Krishna，你存在於
This
所
is
有事。
Krishna. My body is Krishna, your body is
身
Krishna.
體啊，呢個咪啊，
In
冚唪唥
a
都係
sense, you are also Krishna, part and parcel of Krishna.
Krishna。呢個
right?
energy，
Energy, everything. You see
所有都係
anybody.
Krishna 嘅能量嚟
It's
嘅，包括
Krishna.
我哋啊。
So
你
that
唔好話
eyesight
想
is
唔起
hard.
Krishna，
It's not very easy always,
其實
right?
唔係好
We
難
are
嘅。
very working hard,
好
it's
容易嘅。
very busy. But that's why. Easy, just, put a timer, remember Krishna, right? Because thinking, we don't always think. If you would always think, it would be
一
very,
定要
very
好刻
good.
意
Life
咁
would
去
be
想
very
嘅
good,。
你事萬事萬物都係 Krishna，你就自然會記憶 Krishna。
right?
Naturally you can remember.
Yeah.
Everything come from Krishna。冇
Yeah.
Krishna 邊有我哋？邊有呢啲？
And the rest is secondary. Most important thing, always remember. Always, and then never forget.
咁你次要一點就你好刻意咁去記住啊。
Any
remind
other
ourselves something。
any other questions, comments?
我唔好問啦。
Granthra Śrimad Bhagāvatam ki.
Yeah.
Srila Prabhupada ki.
Exact timing.
Nitai Gaur Premanande.
Thank you. Thank you for Vedanta Prabhu teacher. You speak so fast. Hare Krishna. I'm not in the same memory as you. You are training on Gurukul. 知唔識嗰個 Facebook 啊？揾人幫佢。你唔識㗎？你叫我答。拎起佢成個手機拎起佢咪得咯。